There are over 7 billion people sharing the planet. That means 7 billion people requiring energy and creating more and more greenhouse gas emissions.
Greenhouse gas emissions are growing every year, and we want to try and stay ahead of that so we don't end up looking back in 15, 20 years saying, well, it's too late now. The world needs energy. Clean technology will help us to release the world's energy potential while minimizing the damage. Our unique technology is a clean technology that typically is used along with solar power in order to help bridge the gaps that solar experiences the further north you go and in Canadian winters with minimal sun exposure.
Our work is making an impact in reducing GHGs in Alberta, and countries around the world, including the United Kingdom, are catching on and adopting these solutions for their needs.
When we're looking at reducing carbon emissions, there's lots of technologies that you could use, which are effective, but are far more expensive. The Inventus technology is based on a solid material. Unlike the conventional technique, we have a solid that acts very much like a sponge, and this sponge soaks in the CO2, and when we inject steam and heat it up a little bit, we can recover that CO2. And this is a big departure using solids rather than liquids, and that's what makes it more cost effective.
We choose the best technologies, which are available anywhere in the world, wherever they're based, whether they're UK-based or if they're based, as Inventis are, in Canada. The project which we're running with the Inventis Consortium is aimed at reducing the CO2 emissions by 95%. One country on its own isn't going to be able to have a huge impact, but with all the countries in the world having their own individual programs to develop technologies to combat CO2 emissions, we should be able to solve the problem by working together.
The world needs to manage and reduce GHG emissions. In Alberta, we are responsibly developing and using our energy resources while transitioning to a lower carbon economy and generating economic value. Transformative technology is the key.
Carbon engineering is developing industrial hardware to capture carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere at industrial scale and make a high purity pipeline quality product. If you want to make money capturing carbon from the air, you must do it cheaply. If you use that CO2 to make oil, the oil can have what we call a life cycle or well-to-wheels carbon intensity. We think direct air capture technology could be one of the major pieces in the kind of carbon climate toolbox.
Even though the world is struggling to understand the effect of GHG emissions now, we do know that change needs to happen to protect our future. We have to look at reducing emissions from every angle.
Millions of tons of organics are going into landfills, causing major greenhouse gas emissions through methane releases. When you consider that as a nation, as a society, we are landfilling over 40% of organic waste on a yearly basis. It's a major, major problem, and not just for Canada, United States, North America, globally. We're commercializing a thermal hydrolysis technology that is going to be processing this material into feedstock for biogas, which we'll be using for energy, electricity, and heat production, but also extracting all the nutrients, creating high-grade fertilizers that can go back into the soils. We can now commercialize this Alberta-born technology and bring it to many countries around the world who have the very same organic waste issues.
As our world continues to grow, our need for energy does too. Even with growth in renewable sources, fossil fuels will be necessary for some time in order to meet our needs. It's a tremendous responsibility we face, but Alberta has the people, the knowledge, and the unique ability to take on the challenge. And the CCEMC is funding a way forward.